Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you are new here. My name is Amber and today I am going to be talking to you about weird conspiracy theories / hidden messages in one of my all-time favorite stories, which is Alice in Wonderland. Now, I am just as much a massive fan of Alice in Wonderland as I am a royalist, like I mentioned in my previous video about Bloody Mary. So much so that this whole section of my bookshelf that you can see right here is like every single book except 2 is Alice in Wonderland. It's like different copies of Alice in Wonderland, different kinds of copies of Alice in Wonderland. I have an Alice in Wonderland thigh piece. I have a tattoo on my back that's from Alice in Wonderland. I think it's safe to say that I really like Alice in Wonderland. This video could probably go on forever, but I'm going to try and keep it as short as possible, just for the beginning. I can always do another one later, but for now, I just want to kind of touch on like the easier stuff, I guess, of the conspiracy theories / hidden messages. Now, I know one thing that has always been taught in school is that Alice in Wonderland is basically just a big drug trip, and he probably took some form of hallucinogenic while he wrote this story, and that's why we get all the weird things like the caterpillar and following the white rabbit and the big colors and the talking animals and the dancing mome rats and everything else. That's just a really big maybe. One of the things that has always been interesting to me is that if you think about the time that Alice in Wonderland was written and what was going on politically at the time, there are a little bit of too many coincidences between the Red Queen and Queen Victoria. Now, if you have read the actual book and front to back, Alice in Wonderland, Alice Through the Looking Glass, and you know the story inside and out, you will see that the flared up temper, the very angry way of ruling, as well as some other subtle things, is very, very much the way that Queen Victoria also seemed to rule her kingdom. So people thought that it was a little weird and that maybe he was harping on her while he wrote the book. But, I mean, that's something that could potentially be true. We won't know for sure. Apparently, according to a lot of sources, Queen Victoria actually adored the book and thought it was amazing. So maybe it's because she liked the Red Queen and just thought that it was very cool to see another ruler with such an iron fist. Of course, the drug theory is also still very alive and well, although everybody thought that maybe Lewis Carroll, who was also known by Charles Dodgson, had been promoting psychedelic drugs and trying to get them to be more widely used in England at the time. Although there's no proof that he ever actually took any psychedelic drugs, nor that he was promoting any psychedelic drugs. One of the other points that I thought was really interesting and makes quite a lot of sense if you actually think about all of the pieces falling into place was that Alice in Wonderland actually represents a girl's journey, I guess if you want to call it that, through puberty into adulthood. So being an adolescent girl who is very innocent, very unaware of things, and her journey of, I don't know who I am, I don't know what I should be doing or where I should go or what my life is. And let's face it, we all have those moments. But then coming out of Wonderland, being wiser and more cemented in who she is, what she believes in, and how she should address her life. I think that's a really sweet way of viewing the book. I know for myself, it was kind of a coming of age tale of, wanting to escape everyday life. So you make up this fantasy land that helps you get away from everything, where you are the heroine, you are, the one that everybody looks for and the one that everybody wants to be around. So yeah, I think it's an interesting thing to say that it's actually just related to that, to growing up and what it's like to grow up. There's also quite a few concerns on that same topic that the caterpillar in the story was actually very phallic in a sense, and that he was the symbol for men at the time and how they preyed on women, asking who she thought she was to be doing the things that she's doing and who she thinks she is to be running her life the way that she is, and just the very questioning nature of men at the time of women. They were expected to be very prim and proper, and they don't speak out of turn. So I think that's also a very interesting thing. As you can see, a lot of these topics all tie into each other as being a very political statement in a sense, I guess, if you want to go that route. Also, a hit to a lot of the politicians at the time. One of the biggest poems through the book was very stabby, I guess. And it was the story of the walrus and the carpenter, and basically how they ruled everything. They didn't care what anybody else had to say. They took the oysters away and ate them all for lunch because they were naive and young, and just kind of a play off of politics at the time. On that same note, there has also been talk of the poem of the Jabberwocky, and the reason that Alice has to defeat the Jabberwocky could be some underlying tones of feminism and how the Jabberwocky symbolizes the male dominance of the world, and how Alice is the symbol for women to attack the Jabberwocky and bring order and peace to the world, and that there needs to be a balance in our lives. There are many other theories, and I could probably do a video on each and every single one of them. That would take up quite a lot of time. If you would like that, please let me know down in the comments, because I know I would have fun doing it. But I don't want to bore you guys if you don't think that you want to hear those things. I don't know. I think Alice in Wonderland can mean so many different things to everybody. I mean, like I said, for me, it was very much a coming of age tale, defeating her monsters, defeating the things that scared her. And I think at the root of it all, that's probably what he intended it for. He did, at the time, originally start telling his tales of Alice to the daughter of one of his friends, whose name was Alice. Everybody believed that it was just a story of adventures that he conjured up in his head for her as they were, traveling down the river and hanging out. Now, people also thought it was really weird that this grown man was hanging out with this little girl and making up all of these stories about her, but that's a whole other scenario. I don't know what else to say without making this video be like an hour and a half long. So I think I'm going to cut myself off right there. If you liked this video and you made it this far through my rambling about my favorite book in the world, please give it a thumbs up. That would make me so, so happy. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel and turn on the notifications button, because I do upload a new video every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And I think that's it for me for tonight. So I'll see you guys next time.